On the first of the month, a notification chimes on your phone. You look down and see an alert from your bank account. $2,000 has just been deposited into your balance.
You didn't work for it. You didn't file paperwork for it. You didn't have to prove you were looking for a job or that you were poor or that you deserved it.
Every single adult in your city, your state, and your country just received the exact same alert.
For the first time in history, survival is completely subsidized. The constant, low-humming anxiety about next month's rent or the rising cost of groceries vanishes from your chest. You are finally free.
Or at least, that is what the experiment promised. When people debate universal basic income, they usually get stuck in a predictable, politically charged loop. One side claims it will eradicate poverty. The other side claims it will destroy the work ethic of the nation.
But both sides are wrong because they are looking at the immediate, first-order effects. They are looking at the day the money lands in your account.
To understand what actually happens when you give everyone free money, we have to look past the political talking points. We have to look at the invisible, secondary reactions.
This is the story of a 3-year simulation built on data from real-world micro-experiments across the globe, scaled up to a massive modern economy. And it begins the moment you realize that free money is never actually free.
Welcome to Level 1, the safety net illusion. In the first 6 months of the simulation, the atmosphere on the street feels like a permanent holiday. You watch as the immediate financial pressure lifts off your household.
People don't use the money to buy luxury goods or quit their jobs to sit on the couch. Instead, they buy fresh groceries. They pay off their high-interest credit cards. They take their kids to the dentist.
For you, this means a massive psychological shift. For the first time in your adult life, you aren't living paycheck to paycheck. You have breathing room. The local economy starts booming because suddenly everyone has purchasing power. Small businesses see a surge in customers.
The neighborhood grocery store is packed, and local cafes are thriving.
You feel a sense of ultimate security. You believe the system has finally been fixed to work for you.
But while you are celebrating your new financial baseline, a silent, automated calculation is happening in the background.
This brings us to Level 2, the Landlord algorithm.
By month 12, the initial euphoria begins to sour, and it starts with your housing. You notice that the lease on your apartment is up for renewal.
When you open the letter from your property management company, your stomach drops. Your rent has just gone up by $400 a month.
The agent on the phone gives you a polite, scripted apology about market rates. But the truth is much colder. Your property manager doesn't manually set your rent. They use an institutional property management algorithm. The algorithm adjusted the price of housing upward to absorb the new surplus. You decide to look for a cheaper apartment, but as you drive around the city, you discover the same exact thing has happened everywhere. Landlords know exactly how much cash is flowing into the ecosystem. In a localized economy with a fixed supply of housing, giving everyone more money simply increases the bidding power for the exact same limited number of walls. You realize that your $2,000 safety net is being chipped away by the natural, mathematical adjustments of a capitalist market pricing itself to the absolute maximum. As you struggle to absorb the rising cost of living, the world around you begins to shift physically, leading directly into Level 3, the collapse of the floor. By year 2 of the simulation, you start noticing a strange phenomenon when you walk into your local diner, your supermarket, or your favorite fast food joint.
the service is incredibly slow. Half the tables are closed off, and there is a massive sign on the front door that reads, "Short-staffed. Please be patient."
In a standard economy, the lowest paid, most physically demanding jobs are held by people who have no other choice. But under the UBI simulation, the floor of absolute destitution has been removed. Because you and your peers have a guaranteed $2,000 a month, the workers who used to do these grueling, low-wage tasks simply walk away. To keep the doors open, businesses are forced to aggressively raise their wages to entice people back to work. A restaurant that used to pay $15 an hour is now forced to offer $25. But business owners don't just absorb that massive increase in labor costs. They pass the cost directly down to the consumer. The next time you walk into the grocery store, you realize that a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, and a carton of eggs cost twice what they did 18 months ago. You are caught in a classic wage-price spiral. You have more money in your account than ever before, but its purchasing power has drastically shrunk.
This realization brings us to the deepest, most unexpected level of the entire experiment. Level 4, the psychological mutation. By year 3, the economy has found a brutal, hyper-inflated equilibrium. The $2,000 a month no longer feels like a life-changing bonus. It has simply become the new zero. With the fear of absolute failure removed, human ambition begins to mutate. For some people in your community, the UBI becomes a launch pad. You watch your neighbor use the financial cushion to finally go back to school to learn engineering, or take a risk and launch a boutique clothing line. But you also notice a darker, more quiet trend among others. Without the sharp structural pressure of necessity, a segment of the population drifts into a state of permanent stagnation. When that pressure was completely eliminated, it wasn't replaced by artistic creation. It was replaced by aimless consumption. The simulation reveals that human ambition is a muscle that only develops when it is forced to push against the heavy weight of necessity. You stand at the window of your apartment, looking out at a city that has been fundamentally re-engineered. The UBI didn't destroy the world, but it certainly didn't save it either. You realize that you cannot fix a complex structural economic system by just injecting liquidity into the bottom of the pyramid, because the pyramid will always find a way to readjust its prices to flow that liquidity right back to the top. The true lesson of the 3-year simulation is that wealth is never about the number of digital dollars sitting in your bank account. Wealth is entirely about your personal ownership of scarce assets. Assets like real estate, businesses, and highly specialized skills that cannot be easily automated or inflated away by a government printing press. If you rely solely on the currency the system gives you, you will always be at the mercy of the system's algorithms. If you want to understand how to truly protect yourself from these invisible economic shifts, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell right now.